du meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst.
Hello, history buffs, time travelers, and scholars. We've gathered 25 random facts that are so absurd, you might think we made them up. But nope, history is just that weird. Napoleon versus the Bunny Brigade. In 1807, after a treaty celebration, Napoleon faced an unexpected enemy: bunnies. Hundreds of rabbits were released for a hunting event, but instead of fleeing, they charged straight at the emperor. Despite his best efforts to shoo them away, the fluffy attackers overwhelmed him. Napoleon, the conqueror of Europe, was forced to retreat to his carriage, outmatched by an army of determined bunnies. Turns out, rabbits weren't as harmless as they seemed. The Pope's War on Cats. In the 13th century, Pope Gregory IX decided that black cats weren't just bad luck, they were downright evil. He claimed they were tied to devil worship, so naturally, the solution was to launch a medieval cat purge. Across Europe, people began killing cats, believing they were striking a blow against dark forces. But in a cruel twist of fate, fewer cats meant more rats, leading to an even bigger problem: the Black Plague. When dancing was deadly. In 1518, the town of Strasbourg experienced a dance party that spiraled way out of control. It started with one woman dancing in the streets, and soon dozens of people joined her, unable to stop. This wasn't a flash mob, it was the dancing plague. People danced nonstop for days, many collapsing from exhaustion, and some even dancing themselves to death. The 38-Minute War. Wars usually last years, but the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 could barely fill a lunch break. When the Sultan of Zanzibar decided to challenge the British Empire, he probably expected a drawn-out battle. Instead, the British brought their warships, fired a few shots, and within 38 minutes, it was all over. The Sultan fled, leaving his palace in ruins. So, if you think your day goes by quickly, just remember, there was once a war shorter than an episode of your favorite show. When Romans brushed with urine? You might think toothpaste is a modern invention, but ancient Romans had their own, special formula: urine. Yep, they used pee, full of ammonia, as a mouthwash to clean their teeth. And they didn't just rely on their own supply. They imported it from other places too. So, next time you're brushing your teeth with minty toothpaste, just be glad you weren't living in ancient Rome, where you might have been swishing around a mouthful of someone else's pee. Cheers. The deepest hole, the Kola Super Deep. Borehole in Russia is the deepest man-made hole, reaching over 7.5 miles. Scientists aimed for 9 miles, but encountered temperatures hotter than a pizza oven, over 356 degrees Fahrenheit. They had to stop drilling, proving that even geologists prefer their research without a side of extreme heat. The unsinkable Chief Baker. When the Titanic sank in 1912, many stories of survival emerged, but none quite like that of Charles Joughin, the ship's chief baker. While others were frantically searching for lifeboats, Joughin took a different approach. He decided to get very drunk. After downing a few bottles of whiskey, he calmly floated in the freezing Atlantic for hours before being rescued, completely unharmed. The year without a summer. In 1816, summer went MIA due to the eruption of Mount Tambora, which blanketed the skies in ash. Temperatures plummeted, leaving farmers scratching their heads as crops failed, and people experienced a snow-filled summer. It was the ultimate "where's the sun" moment, with ice skating becoming the unexpected summer sport of choice. The Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt wasn't just any ordinary president. He was basically a superhero. In 1912, while giving a speech during his presidential campaign, he was shot in the chest by an assassin. Instead of rushing to the hospital like a sane person, Roosevelt simply checked his watch, coughed a bit, and then declared to the crowd, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." He went on to speak for another 90 minutes with a bullet in his chest. Now that's what you call dedication, and maybe a little madness. Hitler's love for dogs. While Adolf Hitler is known for his dark legacy, he had a surprisingly soft spot for dogs, particularly his German shepherd named Blondie. In fact, during his time in power, he surrounded himself with canine companions and even believed that dogs could sense danger. It's said that he treated Blondie like royalty, giving her a lavish lifestyle complete with a special bunker for her comfort. The ransom. In 1671, Colonel Blood, a notorious conman, hatched a wild plan to steal the British crown jewels. Disguised as a clergyman, he sneaked into the Tower of London, stuffing the jewels into his pants. When caught, he boldly demanded a ransom for himself. Amused by his audacity, King Charles II not only let him go, but even granted him land in Ireland. Who knew a failed heist could end with a royal pass and a piece of land? The woolly mammoth, the furry giant of the Ice Age, looked like a cross between an elephant and a cozy winter sweater. With its long tusks and fluffy coat, it roamed the tundra, probably complaining about the cold. Who wouldn't want to cuddle a creature that could clear a path through snow? The Wicked Bible. In 1631, a group of printers in London made a colossal mistake while printing the King James Bible. Instead of the commandment, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," they accidentally printed, "Thou shalt commit adultery." Oops. This little blunder led to the book being dubbed the Wicked Bible. Imagine having a Bible that accidentally encouraged sin. It's like the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card from the printing press. Silly laws in ancient Rome. The Romans had a quirky law forbidding executions on feast days. Imagine preparing for a grand banquet, only to have someone face the axe. They prioritized parties, allowing citizens to enjoy their meals without the threat of death looming overhead. It's like saying, enjoy dessert first, punishments can wait. The cat who survived. In 1940, a cat named Unsinkable Sam survived 3 ship sinkings during World War II, proving that cats truly have 9 lives and a knack for being in the right place at the right time. Operation Paul Bunyan. After the Korean War, the U.S. military launched Operation Paul Bunyan to cut down a tree in the Korean demilitarized zone. They used tons of troops, vehicles, and even air support for a simple job. It turned a tree removal into a giant spectacle, proving sometimes things can get out of hand. Mummies for medicine. In medieval Europe, people believed that mummies had healing powers. They ground up real mummies to make medicines, thinking they could cure ailments. This bizarre practice shows how far superstition can go and highlights the strange lengths people would take in search of health. The Eiffel Tower's height. The Eiffel Tower can grow up to 6 inches taller in the summer because of heat. The iron expands with the warmth, making the famous landmark a bit taller. This surprising fact shows that even buildings can change with the seasons, adding a fun twist to a beloved symbol of Paris. Napoleon's height. People often say Napoleon Bonaparte was short, but he was actually around 5 feet 7 inches tall, which was average for his time. The confusion came from his army's measurements and British propaganda. This misconception shows how history can be twisted to create lasting myths about famous figures. The 200-year-long war. The War of the Stray Dog between Greece and Bulgaria lasted from 1925 to 1940, but there were no battles fought. It started over a dog that strayed across the border. This strange conflict highlights how absurdities can sometimes escalate into serious situations, even without any actual fighting. The man who survived 2 atomic bombs. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima for business when the first bomb fell. He survived and returned to his hometown, Nagasaki, only to be caught in the second bombing. Remarkably, he lived to tell the tale, highlighting the devastating power of atomic weapons and the luck of one survivor. Viking funerals. Viking funerals were elaborate ceremonies that reflected their beliefs about life and death. When a Viking leader died, they often held a grand funeral, which included placing the deceased on a ship filled with valuable items, then setting it ablaze. This dramatic farewell was meant to honor the dead and ensure a safe passage to the afterlife. Sometimes they buried ships with their leaders to symbolize their journey. These rituals showed the Vikings' deep respect for their warriors and their belief in an afterlife, but they also highlight the harsh realities of their culture, where honor and glory were paramount. The dodo paradox. The dodo bird, which lived on the island of Mauritius, was famously unafraid of humans. When sailors arrived in the late 1600s, the dodo would approach them curiously instead of fleeing. This fearlessness made them easy prey, leading to their extinction within just a few decades. The Forgotten War. The Korean War, fought from 1950 to 1953, is often called the Forgotten War because it's overshadowed by World War II and the Vietnam War. Many people don't know much about it, even though it involved significant global tensions and led to the division of Korea into North and South. The conflict ended in an armistice, not a peace treaty, meaning the two Koreas are still technically at war today. The Bearded Lady. In the 19th century, Anna Haining Bates became famous as the Bearded Lady, captivating audiences with her unique appearance. Standing at 7 feet 11 inches tall, she was already a standout figure, but her facial hair made her even more remarkable. Anna traveled with circuses, where she challenged societal beauty standards of her time. Instead of hiding her differences, she embraced them, earning respect and admiration. And there you have it, 25 absurd and shocking history facts that show just how wild our past can be. From the unassuming dodo to the grand Viking funerals, history is filled with surprises. If you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to like this and subscribe for more intriguing stories that make you go, "Wait, what?"